airliner reports that a person made a bomb threat, tried to get the plane diverted to Sochi. We want to go to Nick Payton-Walsh. Nick, what have you learned? There's not a lot of detail at the moment. Tell us what you know.
It's very preliminary information right now, Michael. What we do know is that an aircraft that was heading from Kharkiv, which is an industrial town in eastern Ukraine, bound for Istanbul. According to our affiliate CNN Turk, whilst that plane was in the air, a man on board, said at this point to be a Ukrainian national, said that there was a bomb on board the plane, and he asked that instead the plane land in the Sabiha Gokcen airport on the Asiatic side of the city of Istanbul, that instead it be diverted to Sochi. Now, I should make clear at this point, according to Turkish officials, that plane has now landed in Istanbul, is in a safe zone in the airport, and the bomb threat is now being investigated by security forces. One would presume from that that the 110 passengers on board are off and safe. We don't quite know where this originated from, what the motive was. You know, lots of things happen in midair that could be explained simply by erratic behavior. But of course, people extraordinarily on edge at this point because of what's just been happening behind me, coinciding precisely with that opening ceremony.
Nick, do we have any sense of the person who actually allegedly made this threat? Do we know if they're in custody at this point? What do we know about that individual?
I'm only able to presume that, given the statement from the transportation official, the Turkish Transportation Ministry, that this individual is presumably in some form of custody now because the aircraft is in a safe zone at the airport. Airports often do that. They have a place waiting set aside where any plane in any condition can be put down. This plane emitted a hijack signal while it was in the air, according to multiple reports, and that's of course where this process began. Then it finally landed in Istanbul, and the fact that it was able to make that landing suggests quite likely that the people on board didn't take either the threat that seriously or weren't necessarily concerned enough to divert their course. They still managed to finish their journey and land in Istanbul itself, Michael.
Right, okay. Yeah, Nick, let's turn now, if we can. Thanks for that, Nick Payton-Walsh. Richard Quest is in New York. Richard, you're sort of our transport expert among many other hats that you wear. What normally is the procedure when something like this happens and a plane lands as it did in Istanbul?
Well, the first thing, of course, is that the pilot will send out a code, a transponder code, that will alert the ground and air traffic control that there is an abnormality. And there are a variety of different codes that they can use. In this case, obviously, the one that was used was for a hijacking. Any air traffic controller seeing that. And the reason they do that, of course, is that it's a way in which the pilots can let the ground know without making it very overt that something's happening on board. You literally just send out an electronic signal and the ground is alerted. Once that has happened, procedures go into place. In some cases, military aircraft will be scrambled to get as close as they can to see that which is happening. You know, visual contact. There is no better substitute than eyes looking at planes to see what the situation is. And then you've got the situation, where is the plane going to land? Many countries have specific airports. The UK, for example, sends planes to Stansted in these situations where they already have a well-honed plan. They know where what you don't want is uncertainty. So the plane lands in Istanbul in this case. Everybody knows where it's going to be sent to. Everybody knows which part of the airport it's going to be in. The security forces will know how to treat the aircraft in that environment, how to get passengers off. If an attack is necessary, it will be much easier in a known quantity. Now, we don't know enough details about this. I'm just giving you the architecture, if you like, of how these are handled. But it is a very well planned, programmed, rehearsed program that swings into operation the moment a pilot signals the transponder for hijack.
And Richard, if signal to alert people of what is happening, how much information can they give folks on the ground? Can they alert officials that there might be a bomb threat or there's more than one individual? Or is there any other way of communicating on the ground more details?
It's just code,
well,
is it?
Well, yeah, it's a code basically, but you do have ways, of course. You have digital ways of communicating with the ground. You have the passengers at the back who may be able to still use their cell phones. You have radio transmissions. But we're talking here about the barest information. And the reason you may want to give this information, not only because you're going to want help to sort out this situation, but you may be flying an aircraft that is now going to start making erratic movements. You may be deviating from your flight plan. It's got, I mean, this is just in the realms of what can be. If you had a gun or a weapon to your head and you suddenly had to start flying a different flight plan than was intended, that would set out all sorts of alarms and alerts. And what you would be saying to the ground is, this plane is no longer flying a normal flight plan under controlled circumstances as expected. Everybody beware. Keep an eye out. And then eventually you will be given the information you require from where you need to go.
Right. And that does sound like it was the destination. This was going from Kharkiv to Istanbul, so the destination...
I'm guessing, I'm with Nick on this one. From what I'm hearing and what we've heard, this is at the lower level.
Yeah.
This is way at the lower level of incidents. But
got to agree.
I can promise you this. The air traffic controller that got the hijack transponder certainly wasn't taking it for granted.
Absolutely. Yeah. Richard Quest, thanks so much. Apparently an F-16 was scrambled. This place, Kharkiv, it's the second largest city in Ukraine, so it's a regular route, apparently, from there to Istanbul. So anyway, it looks like it's all in hand.
Yeah, when we get more information, of course, we'll bring that to you. We're going to take a quick break first.